I'm Gary, and this is Coasting with Culture. I like to combine theme park visits and riding roller coasters with various cultural experiences around the world. So far in this South America adventure, stops have been made in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. Now it's on to the fourth country, Chile. Upon arrival to Santiago, it's time to get right into exploring this wonderful city, viewing it from a few elevated locations, and exploring its heart. Heading to Chile would be a bit less direct than the previous international flights of this trip, as there would be a connection through Buenos Aires in Argentina, which would be the final country of the trip in a few days. These flights would be the first with a new airline for myself, Aerolíneas Argentinas, and the first flight on a Boeing in a few weeks after many Airbus flights. It was nice to have pillows and blankets for this overnight flight to the Argentine capital, as it would be a perfect time to try and get some shut-eye. While I would be visiting Argentina on this trip, the layover wasn't long enough to explore the area outside of the airport, so I simply went up to the main terminal area and found a lounge to spend a few hours in. After getting a shower and relaxing for a while, I spent the last bit of time exploring the airport, which included some plane spotting, such as a special Boeing 747 from Lufthansa. Being from Washington State, I appreciated seeing this aircraft built in the city of Everett, especially since it was the 1500th 747 ever built, as indicated by the special mark on the back of the plane.
Guess I gotta find something else to do than just sit on the little kids plane.
Along with the 747, there were also a few Airbus 340s, which I hadn't seen any of in several years since I flew on one from Washington, D.C. to Copenhagen, Denmark back in 2014. Those that I saw here included one from the Swiss airline Edelweiss and the Spanish airline Iberia. After watching planes for a while, it was time to board one for the connecting flight over to Santiago. While this was another Boeing 737, it was definitely an older one, as you could see from the square window openings and the older, bulkier seats, which still had ashtrays in the armrests. The first stretch of the flight oversaw the expansive size of the greater Buenos Aires area, before seeing the more rural parts of the nation. After passing over some clouds, though, the views from above were really something as we passed over the Andes Mountains, crossing over into Chile. This felt like a different mountain range when compared to the view from the flight to Cusco, as these were more arid mountains, and several of them featured glaciers. Once on the other side of the Andes, we began our descent into Santiago. As we taxied to our gate, I was surprised by the size of Santiago's airport, but found out just how massive it really is thanks to the walk from the gate to customs, which was about 10 to 15 minutes. Before heading into the city, I grabbed an empanada with steak and cheese that was absolutely delicious. Getting to the city center would be quite easy as there was a special route from the company tour bus that went to one of their main terminals from the airport. Once we pulled into the terminal, I grabbed an Uber to the Airbnb I was staying at while in Santiago and called it a day early due to the overnight flying. During the short first walk of the morning, I passed by one of many South American churches, along with a small amusement park that appeared to be part indoors and part outdoors. It wasn't open though, and upon later inspection, I found there wasn't a coaster. While in Santiago, I made much use of their excellent modern subway system. To ride, you can buy individual passes, or you can get their touch card called BIP and put money on it to pay for the fare. The amount you pay depends on the time of the day, with peak being the most expensive, off-peak in the middle, and super off-peak as the cheapest. If you get the BIP card, all you have to do is touch it at the gate to pay the fare. The signage is very easy to understand as they show the stops on the route and where you would transfer to other lines. Keep a lookout though, as some routes will stop at every other stop depending on the day and time and which train you're on, typically with them all stopping at the main stops and transfer locations. As a fairly modern rail system, there are signs that show how long it is until the next train will arrive. The extensive network can help you get to many of the city's most popular attractions, including the first stop of the day, Sky Costanera. The skyscraper, known as Gran Torre Santiago, is the tallest in South America and connects to Mall Costanera Center, a large multi-floor shopping complex. There are several locations within the mall where you can look up toward the top of the tower, but the better experience is to head up the elevator to enjoy the views from its observation level, known as Sky Costanera. Off the elevator, you come onto the 60th floor, greeted by 360-degree views of Santiago and the surrounding area, including the nearby Andes Mountains. Several of the windows feature signage to share the area of the city that you're looking toward and more detail about what you can see in that direction. Some of the things you may notice from above include the neighboring financial district and the bed of the Mopacho River, which once had evenly split the city. You'll also see one of the more popular destinations of the city, Cerro San Cristobal, which provides another overlook of the city, located within walking distance of their Plaza de Armas and the national government buildings. This is only half of the viewing possibilities, as you can find an escalator that will take you up to the highest public accessible point on the 62nd floor, known as Open Sky. This open-air section of the tower gives you a chance to enjoy the unique engineering of the skyscraper, along with more opportunities to enjoy the views of the surrounding area. It's certainly worth the extra bit of time to come up and enjoy this additional observation space.
Some may find coming to these kinds of observation decks kind of touristy and not really getting the authentic feel of a place, but I feel like this is a great way to kind of get a sense of the lay of the city that you're visiting, especially in a place like Santiago that sits nearby the Andes Mountains, and you get a chance to enjoy the incredibly unique topography of the area on the outside of the city. Definitely worthwhile to come up here to the top of this tower, especially since it's the tallest in Latin America.
After enjoying the views from the tallest tower in South America, it was time for another elevated viewing location, Cerro San Cristobal. When I first began looking into visiting, I thought it would require a hike all the way to the top, which would have made a bit of a longer day with all the walking planned already. But there was a nice and easy way to make it up if you wish to save some time, courtesy of the Teleferico. There are multiple options for enjoying a visit to the top of Cerro San Cristobal, including my choice, which included a one-way journey on the Teleferico and the Funicular on the other side of the hill. Heading up the Teleferico gives you an opportunity to enjoy a different viewpoint of the city. Part of the way up, you can hop out and continue by foot on one of several paths, or you can stay on board and continue to the top of the hill. At the top of Cerro San Cristobal, there are several places to enjoy a meal or a snack, and several points of interest, including one of its biggest draws, a massive statue of the Virgin Mary that is part of Santuario del Cerro San Cristobal. For some visitors, this may evoke thoughts of Christ the Redeemer found in Rio de Janeiro, although it isn't nearly to the same scale, but it does have a very prominent spot at the top of the hill, looking down to the city below. Near the location of the sanctuary on the hill is a memorial site that pays tribute to San Juan Pablo II, or Pope John Paul II, who visited Chile in 1987, giving thanks to God for the peaceful solution of a long-term territorial conflict between Chile and Argentina. The statue of the late pontiff stands guard over a pair of columbariums, where some Chileans are in their final resting place. Another connected point of interest to the sanctuary is the gift shop. Among the religious products and spiritual trinkets, you can take home a replica of the statue or even a portrait of the current pontiff, Pope Francis. After enjoying the top of Cerro San Cristobal, it was time to head down the hill on the Funicular, which runs on one of the steeper sides of the hill and offers another opportunity to enjoy some of the unique views of the city, regardless of which section you ride thanks to its tiered platforms. At the bottom, you can head back to the line if you're taking a round-trip journey, or this could be the starting point for your visit to the hill.
But I'm going to use this opportunity to go and explore more of Santiago.
The lower funicular station is right on the edge of the trendy neighborhood of Bellavista, known for its dining, shopping, and nightlife. This led to a visit to Patio Bellavista, an open-air shopping and dining complex with a neat collection of unique artwork on display. Their shops are of the smaller variety, complemented by several restaurants with outdoor dining, which was an excellent time to try Dolbeck, a Belgian-style lager from the Patagonia region of Chile. After lunch, it was back to the subway for a quick ride over to visit Museo de la Memoria y los Derechos Humanos, or the Museum of Memory and Human Rights.
This museum has a lot of emphasis on the 17-year period of the dictatorship that was in control over Chile, the events that led to it, what happened during the time of the dictatorship, the ways people resisted, the torturing of people that would occur in different situations and things like that. It's a really powerful thing to see. It's important to have these kinds of places because it does lead to reflection and to trying to find ways to ensure that these kinds of things don't happen again. The other thing about it too is it's actually free. There's no cost to enter. One of the best things too is that even if you don't speak or read Spanish, they have audio guides that you can use. They only cost about 2,000 Chilean pesos or just under $3 American, or right around that range.
Heading back to the subway after the museum, I found a stand with a Chilean soda called Beals, which has a similar flavor to grenadine. From the subway, there happened to be a band providing some tunes for the passers-by that really added to the atmosphere. Heading back up to street level, I found myself in the heart of Santiago's Plaza de Armas, which, like others in South America, had monumental fountains, unique artwork, and incredible architecture. What set this plaza apart from others, though, was the presence of various street performers to entertain the visitors of the square. There was also an occasional bit of street gambling that involved games like this where you tossed a 100 Chilean peso coin onto the mat, hoping that it lands either on the square or within the tiny circle inside the image of a bill to win that amount. I wasn't sure about the legality of this game, so I just observed for a minute. Further down the path, I found myself walking among some of the incredible architecture that led toward the buildings of Chile's national government, including Palacio De La Moneda, the building which houses the office of Chile's president, built in 1805. Unlike other buildings that house a nation's head of state, this one seemed a bit less grandiose than others, but it certainly isn't small, as it covers a full city block. Santiago's street art can be incredible, like this mural on an underground entry. After passing by a pair of Michael Jackson impersonators dancing to some of his biggest hits, I found a place to cap off my day exploring the Chilean capital by enjoying the locally made Royal Guard lager. Thank you for watching this Coasting with Culture video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button below to see future videos here on YouTube, like these ones which you may enjoy as well. Additional content can be found at coastingwithculture.com, and you can also follow Coasting with Culture on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for announcements, previews, and updates. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care and safe travels.